This episode is brought to you in part by Sasha Spinners, Element Custom Baits, and 3 Ideas Canada. Let's get into it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lines Out of Outta podcast. I'm Nathan Blank.
I'm Caden Parisian, and we have some fun topics to go over today. Let's get started.
As you've read from the title, maybe you haven't, we're going to talk a little bit about the Brady Kingsland experience. We're going to talk about running a derby. We're going to talk about some Eskimo, clam, otter products. We're going to mainly be interviewing Caden, I guess, today, because he's done some crazy things in the last little while. So
absolutely,
we have some very fun topics to talk about today, and we'll get straight into it. Before we do, hopefully the audio is sounding a little bit better today. We've got our mics here, so starting from now on, hopefully it'll be crisper audio and hopefully just more enjoyable to listen to in moving vehicles and wherever you may be streaming us from. So
that's like a key point in YouTube videos that I look for. I click on a video. If the audio sucks, I click off immediately. So
it
is nice. It is nice to have.
I would argue it's better to have better sound system over like video quality system.
Honestly, if you just had running these mics off your iPhone, the iPhone quality today is bonkers. So you could easily get away with that.
Absolutely. Also, I'm not wearing glasses. You're gonna have to tell me if that camera goes off. I cannot see anything.
You that blind?
Yeah.
Damn.
It's getting bad.
Damn.
So,
all right.
Yeah, make sure you guys go into that GoFundMe in the description so I can get glasses again. So, yeah. Anyway, so at the time of recording this, we are currently entering into March Madness. So we are in the big fish, high metabolism, very, I guess you could say, horny fish. They're getting ready to spawn here soon. As soon as the ice cover starts to come off is when the walleye will be doing their spawning. So, interesting fact, actually, learned about this in school. The reason that walleye like to spawn in rivers is because the current helps with sperm release. There needs to be that.
So that's why walleyes like current so much.
Yeah, true story. That's why they want to do it in rivers. Wow. Same with salmon. Now you know. Anyway, so we are sadly entering the end of ice fishing season, as this means. We're going to be heading into open water again soon. I gotta say, I'm not ready for open water whatsoever. I don't want ice fishing to go away, but the ice and all that's melting super fast. It's down to the pavement already in the driveway.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's getting pretty sad, but I mean, I had an enjoyable year. It was a lot of
painful experiences,
I guess you could say. I've had better years, but it was fun. What do you think? Was this your best year?
Honestly, for fishing-wise, I think it's probably one of my better years. I haven't been out fishing too much. As Nathan said, I've been doing some pretty fun things this winter. I've been on the filming/editing train on YouTube for Kingsland outfitting. So that has been quite the ride. It's been lots of fun. I have been able to fish a few times. This year I've tied my PB walleye. I had a crazy outing of smallmouth, crappie, tulubi, and pike. So, I mean, it is probably one of my better years now that I think of it.
That's sure. Good. I mean, with me, I haven't been out a lot because tied up with school a lot of the time. And when I seem to go out, I just can't put it together as much as I used to. I mean, my biggest this season's only been 28, and that was at the very start of the season when we were overnight camping. Our first time overnight camping.
In a chair.
Caden was in a chair. I was in a toboggan inside of an Eskimo 650.
Didn't we come up with that idea at
guys
7:30 at night? And we're like, let's go night fishing.
In the evening of the day we went.
We packed up in 45 minutes and we were out the door.
We headed straight to Sugar Island. We were there And we got so ahead of ourselves, we didn't really explore the idea of, we're not going to be very comfortable sleeping. We just thought, we'll just sleep in the chair, it's fine. No, I was pretty uncomfortable. So,
I kind of thought that the fish would keep us up, but I mean, the fishing wasn't the greatest.
I checked the time. We caught my 28-inch walleye. That's on our Instagram if you want to check out the footage. But it was at like it was either 12:57 or 12:59
That's hilarious.
a.m. technically.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
Walleye biting the night, I guess. So that was cool. But yeah, I highly do not recommend do that. We got our cots shortly after that, and then we did our overnight episodes. So that was cool.
That was fun. That was a really cool
comfortable.
experience.
If you guys haven't done it, I mean, we did it on Lake Winnipeg with our cots. Highly recommend you try it out if you're ever thinking about it. So nice just waking up and getting right into fishing.
Yeah.
Make sure you just have all your stuff though, because there's nothing worse than worrying about your propane, or we had a diesel heater and a Mr. Buddy heater, but just worrying about diesel, worrying about food, water. We also didn't pack enough food, we thought. We had to have a shipment brought to us. Well, you had to go back.
Rescue mission, yeah.
Rescue mission, but yeah, overnight camping, a lot of fun. Highly recommend you do it. Make sure you just don't do it in -40. So, not too long ago,
that's no fun.
It was like -35, -30. It was like -35 with the wind chill, and I was by myself. And I went to a ridge out from Sunset Beach, Road 103 on Lake Winnipeg, and I decided to do an overnighter myself because I was just really wanting to get out. And I honestly, at one point when I had a diesel heater running on max, I had a propane heater running on max, I had my carbon monoxide detector, but I had to be careful. I genuinely thought, this is actually really dangerous. I was still cold.
You don't say.
With all this running. So what I will say is there's no worse feeling staying awake so you don't die of carbon monoxide poisoning and making sure you don't freeze to death on Lake Winnipeg. So do not be a hero. Do not go out when it's any colder than -25, I would say. Unless you have...
I've done it at -25, and I'll tell you this, it is not enjoyable. We had a Mr. Buddy heater running on high for 3 days straight. So just think about the propane that you'd burn. I think we went through like
and all
3
that,
tanks.
and you're breathing in. I mean, let's be honest, propane isn't great for you.
No.
So
I had to get outside a lot because like usually with like a full day of fishing, I'm like, okay, I need to go outside and like get some fresh air because it's not the best air to be breathing in. But I mean, we did have fans, so it did circulate the air a bit. But I mean, that helped so much.
And you can't be getting fresh air when it's -30 outside, and then just this big.
You walk outside and your breath is taken away and your nostrils freeze. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, if you're living in Minnesota or in the Dakotas where it's not as bad of weather, go for it. But if you're on Lake Winnipeg and you're coming up, be super careful. That's all I'm going to say. Don't want to be in that situation where you're fearing for your safety. Anything like that is not worth a big fish.
No.
So, other than that, speaking of Eskimo and the 650 XD, still love that tent. We each have that tent. I got the Eskimo 2600 this season, and just because when I'm going out sometimes, I want to just everything super quick to set up, super quick to set down and out of there. Especially on Lake Winnipeg when it's pretty cold out and you're taking down a hub and you're putting it back in the bag and doing this and that. It's a two-man job. While it is quite the investment to get a Flipover, I think, and we've used it, and it's not all talk, it's genuinely
I'm a big fan.
A good alternative.
I'm a big fan.
There's definitely the days where I want to use the hub. I'm not going to do an overnighter and a Flipover. I mean, you can, but I'm not going to do that in a Flipover. But I'm also not going to be running and gunning with a hub. I'm just going to be moving around less because I'm not wanting to do the whole process of taking it down and setting it up again. So you're a lot more mobile, but it's expensive. It's harder, the bigger it is, harder it is to fit in the back of a truck bed. And when you're loading it by yourself, unless you have your own system like I kind of did, it's kind of more of a two-man job like that.
Sure.
If you're having a snowmobile and you're hooking it up, it's pretty perfect. You are limited to what you can have in that specific sled though, because a lot of its space is taken up by the chairs and just there's only so much room. So besides that, the three brands, Otter, Clam, and Eskimo. I know the answer to this, but what is your favorite?
Probably Otter.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Eskimo because you have an Eskimo.
No, don't always assume that, my friend.
Oh, okay, I'm learning. Okay,
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, well, I do own an Eskimo 650, like Nathan said. I'm a big fan of it personally. The only thing that I really do not like is, well, I mean, the Otter and the Eskimo are pretty much the same weight. like for carrying it around, throwing it in the back of the truck or on top of a toboggan or whatever. But the thing I hate about it is how much of a pain it is to get the Eskimo inside the bag. Eskimo makes these, like, I don't know what it is, but especially their flipovers, their tarps are so tight. It looks good, like, believe it or not, like when you have it hooked up to the back of a snowmobile or just out in the open, it looks really good, all tight, nice and neat. But no, I would rather prefer like efficiency over looks personally, because like getting an Otter hub into a tent or into a tent bag is very easy. You can buy oversized bags. I know people that make them, but I mean at the same time, like you might as well just buy the hub and just have everything that you want. I do like the rod holders that Otter has in the tent, and I do like the window setup. I don't know what it is, but just for lighting purposes, in the Otter hubs are very nice and efficient for sure.
The biggest thing with Eskimo, so like you said, with my 2600, the cover, I wanted to almost get a 2800 because, man, it is so tough sometimes getting the corners on, because the corners are hard, so they go on better, if that makes sense.
Then you got to tuck the skirt in,
and then you got to tuck the skirt
put
inside.
the tarp over.
Yeah, so with the flipovers, there's definitely a couple cons that I didn't realize until I got it. Yeah, with making it so that the takedown, you got to make sure all the fabric's enclosed, it's not falling out, because when it's set up, all the fabric's coming down, and you got to do it very purposefully when you're folding it in and making it compact within itself. So
yeah, for sure.
A couple things to think about. So the most popular clams that I've seen go out the door, X400s and X600s.
Yeah.
That's their basic hub style.
Yeah.
Now with Otter specifically, I believe it's Otter, I don't think Clam does this, they specifically say on their packaging, oversized bag.
Yeah.
It's very clear that they want an oversized bag, and that's what they offer.
Even on their flipovers too, like on their...
Yeah, I that's what I've seen too.
Yeah.
But with Eskimo, they're the hub style bag and the cover for my 2600, it's a nice hard bag. It's not like super loose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a heavy cover, but that's the thing. There's not a whole lot of extra room. It's not oversized at all. With a two-man job, you're shimmying it up. It's a beautiful fit when you're tucking it away, though. When you're putting it in storage and it's nicely compact, got to think
when it's not frozen too. Like when there's not snow stuck to the skirt and it's like a -40 day, you got to take off your gloves to get that strap around and then shimmy it in the bag. Yeah. It is not fun at all.
I love the Velcros on the side.
That is nice.
On the actual bag, when you tighten it up, super nice. Yeah. So between the three brands, the only thing that Eskimo is kind of behind on, and their new series with the Quick Fish HD.
Yeah.
It's a no-trip door now. The only difference between that and an Outbreak, there's the grades of insulation. So Eskimo has Storm Shield insulation on their Outbreaks, which is what we have, and on their Flipovers. That's their highest level of insulation. Whereas when you're going down to the Quick Fish, it's called IQ, I believe.
Yeah.
There's three. There's IQ, Storm Shield, and there's another one, I can't remember. But I believe it's IQ. So it's not as warm of a tent. But all their tents, from what I've seen, compared to Clam and Otter, don't have the hose that comes out.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's huge nowadays, especially with camping and doing all this. Having your tube or your line fed outside to your propane tank is a huge asset in tents now.
For sure.
People are make or break whether or not they're going to get Eskimo or
I usually just run mine kind of out the door, because I know Eskimo, the 650 has 3 doors, which is pretty cool. Actually, the amount of doors in one tent is kind of bonkers.
Yeah.
But I do run the hose outside the door. But sometimes if I just get lazy, I'll just throw the tent over, put the hose under the skirt. And I've actually had times where there's water or like slush beneath it, and that hose will actually freeze into the ice, and I actually have to chip it out. I've had that happen to me a couple times, where it has even just the slush freezing on the skirt of the tent. I mean, that'll do with every tent, but like, it is nice having... What are you smiling at?
I was going to say something in a second. Keep going.
Okay. This will be interesting. So yeah, like having that hole for the hose is very nice, and then it's very efficient just to take it out, at the end of the day, or just so it's not laying on the ground. You were going to say?
So with Caden's tent, it's so funny.
Oh no.
Caden ripped to crap his outside skirt, because I was going to add that I like the skirts come out. You can put a generous amount of snow on the edges and skirts of it to nicely insulate it and pack it down. Caden's ripped his so bad, it's so funny. And with Caden's, there's a big grease circle on the top.
Yeah, I don't know what's up
hilarious.
with that, Eskimo.
Oh my god.
I don't know what's up with that, but every time I close the tent down, the hubs apparently like to leak grease, apparently, and then it goes on the white insulation on the inside of the tent.
Oh my god.
Explain that to me. I don't know what the deal is there. Yours is fine.
Mine's perfectly fine.
Yeah, yours is perfectly fine.
You ripped yours? Oh my god, so funny.
Well, I ripped mine because we were up north in Lyndon Lake, specifically on Digney Lake, and we were dealing with 4 inches of ice and about like 1.5 feet of snow. So those two mixtures, you get slush. Not good. So yeah, I woke up one morning and I went to go take an emergency and I went to go open the door and I unzipped it and I tried to open it and the door, like the skirt, because there's a skirt on the door as well, it was stuck in the slush and I had to go number 2 so bad. I'm like, okay, get out of my way. And I literally ripped the door open and it like ripped half the skirt off. It was an emergency, but...
Clearly.
Oh yeah. So you would have done the same thing.
I probably would have done the same thing.
So user error, I guess, but yeah, we'll go from there.
The only thing I will say though, it doesn't honestly matter too much with the hose because I'm only ever using the no trip door.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of the normal doors that you zip up that you can trip over. So half the time I'll just open that up at whatever point along the zipper I need and just stick out the diesel heater tube or whatever. So it's not.
I guess if you got a diesel heater, it's nice to stick it out the door.
Yeah, that is nice.
I mean, you kind of have to almost. No?
And I wouldn't use the hose anyway. So, but that's just a big thing, is having the hose piece with Eskimo.
Well, it is nice having the big buddy as like a mobile piece of a mobile source of heat, right? Not a diesel heater. It's kind of a pain in the butt hauling around, trying to be mobile.
Your mic's blue, right?
No, it's red. Joking. Yeah, it's blue.
Okay, just make sure. So yeah, between the 3 brands, I'm still pretty firm on Eskimo. I think I shouldn't like it for this, but I think it looks the best. Personally, just seeing the red, I love it. I think it looks good. And don't fix what ain't broke. It's fine. Yeah. The bag isn't the biggest problem for me, and I could say, I'm sure, bad things about Otter and Clam, but I haven't used them all, and I'll only ever find out if I ever buy one, but...
I've never used Clam, but I fished in an Otter.
Mm-hmm. It's very, it's like the same thing, let's be honest here.
Pretty much. There's a few things, but other than that, yeah, they're pretty much the same.
So, Eskimo, I'm repping you guys today. Sorry. Anyways, like Winnipeg.
Yeah, just gonna get on that topic.
Not a fan.
Nathan, how was you said you've been out a couple times.
A couple.
Where have you been out?
So, I've been out the mouth. I've been in between. I've been at Sunset. I've been just north of Balsam, where my cabin is.
Stony Point.
Yeah, I've been at Stony Point. I don't know what it is. I just couldn't put it together. And when I say I had a bad season, quote unquote, I wouldn't say I had a bad season compared to most people, I guess. I didn't get out as much as I would have liked to, but just the fish weren't fishing.
Well, that's why they call it fishing, not catching.
Like, you go up to a ridge and they're just not there. It's like any other year they would be there. And I think my biggest thing is, I've had fluke years. The biggest fluke years I had on Lake Winnipeg when I first got into fishing that I knew no different at the time. For example, I would walk out and just pick a random spot. Huge gas auger, no fish finder, and just bang, 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 fish like crazy. And then come March, I have a video of it. The video's still on my channel. We couldn't not catch a fish. It was just so stupid. Does that mean
when me and you in the tent?
Well, it was the one where I caught the person caught a 30-inch walleye.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
And that was with my dad. And then it's like, yeah, anyway. You could not catch a fish then. And the following years after that, up until now, it has not been like that since. So I took it for granted. I'm like, oh, I love this lake. This is great. Ice fishing is so easy. Nope. Mega Live, Flipover, hub, can't pull it together all the time like I used to, I guess. But, I mean, there's still so many big fish to be caught. You have to be more towards the mouth, honestly, for your best chance. If you're going out from Prudence Creek, you also have to be kind of careful where you go, because if you're going to go shallower, you're going to destroy your auger blades.
That's the other thing too, in and around the mouth.
Over.
there's lots of bad ice, but if you can get out to like 12 feet, 9 feet and deeper, you're pretty much good. But there's been some pretty scary ridges out there actually forming the last couple of days. I've drove over a couple that, you know.
This year's been scary for ridges.
Yes, it has, yeah.
There's been a lot going on.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, like, up until like this year, out on Winnipeg Beach side, Nathan's on the east side of Lake Winnipeg, like his home base, his cabin there. And then my grandparents have a place on the west side. I'm sure we've mentioned this probably half a dozen times already. But I started fishing the west side of Lake Winnipeg out deep, like not even close to the mouth, in between like Matlock and like Sandy Hook area. And I have been actually doing very well. And I know it sounds bad, but it's because of live scope. 100%. 110%. So my side, it gets deep pretty fast and it just keeps dropping. Like I'm fishing in like 17, 18 feet of water. That is like kind of unheard of on Lake Winnipeg. But like these fish will cruise like 3-4 feet under the ice. And if I didn't see them from, 10, 15 feet away coming in that shallow, I would never get to them by the time I reel up. And by the time I'd reel up, they'd be gone. So I had to kind of predict their movements. And with the live scope, it makes it a lot easier. But you can find fish anywhere on Lake Winnipeg. It's just, are you willing to actually put in the work and put in the hours and put in the stress?
And take what's ours, yeah.
And yeah, take what, oh.
Sorry. Cut.
All right.
But yeah, Lake Winnipeg is a different beast. Mm-hmm. Weather-wise, geography-wise.
It's scary out there, it really
scary.
Is. Just living out there for like 2 weeks straight, it was like, yeah, scary place.
So, end of the story, we hate Lake Winnipeg. Anyway,
yeah.
With the Brady Kingsland experience.
Yes.
For those of you who don't, well, who is Brady Kingsland, first of all?
Brady Kingsland, he is the owner of Kingsland Outfitting, a outfitter on Lake Winnipeg. He also does hunting trips as well and open water trips up in Hecla Provincial Park. But yeah, he just basically guides, he does mostly running guns on Lake Winnipeg. So running and gunning all across Lake Winnipeg, looking for big greenbacks and stuff like that. And he actually has a YouTube channel, and he kind of picked me up off of Instagram, which is kind of funny.
He slid in your DMs?
Basically, yeah. He found my work, my content, and he said, hey, let's try and, come join the team and see what you can do. So I'm like, all right, that works with me. So I've been, this is into March. I started in like December, and I've been doing a couple months of editing and filming with Brady. And we're doing some pretty cool collaborations and some pretty cool trips coming up in the near future. So yeah, it should be pretty exciting. And just also collaborating with different YouTubers and stuff like that. So it's been quite the experience for sure. I've learned a lot. He also has an ice castle on Lake Winnipeg. He does ice castle bookings as well, like just for the day kind of thing. And like just living out there, learning the experiences, or just experiencing them, and just, knowing the ins and outs of how to run a business on the lake has been pretty cool. So
if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, it's a freaking duck.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, but with Brady Kingsland, what are some things that people don't know about him or realize, or what goes into guiding that you think should be shared?
Honestly, like people say, like it's not that hard. You go out there and you catch fish and you put people on fish. You spend a couple days finding fish, and then once you find fish, you just bring them out there. Well, really, no, it's not all about that. It's a lot more work than you think. If you're a veteran on Lake Winnipeg, you can understand the struggles and the complications come with just ice fishing, period. It's a lot of work on what we do. You've experienced it for sure. Just the struggles of getting out there. You get out there, you want to catch a big fish. This breaks, okay, whatever, I'll fix it, or I'll just get a new one. You're heading back, this doesn't work out, you don't get through the ice. You break rods, you break lines, you break off.
Your blades are dull.
Your blades are dull after 3 holes.
Batteries are dead.
Battery's dead. And even worse,
customers are arrogant.
Exactly, and even worse, like your snowmobile breaks down on the lake, or you blow your transmission on the ice. Like that is not fun at all. I've had that happen once, where my good dear snowmobile, wherever she is today, broke. Did I not tell you?
No.
I sold my purple sled.
Wow, who bought it?
No kidding.
Did they? That's news to me.
They bought it, yeah. $2,000.
I'm hoping they know what they're doing fixing it.
Well, I fixed it, and once it was fixed, bon voyage. She's out of the yard. So I bought a new sled though, so that's fun.
And what happened to that sled?
I seized the secondary clutch. Whatever. That's another discussion.
Oh yeah, that's the next episode, guys.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Anyway.
But yeah, broke down in the middle of lake, like smack dab in the center. I was at the mouth of the Red River, and I was riding, and my ignition coil went, and I had no tent, no heater, no wind block really, except my snowmobile and my striker jacket, and literally no one in sight. It was like a Tuesday afternoon. There was no one on the lake. I'm like, well, what do I do? It's like 14K to the shoreline. I'm not walking that. And keep in mind, it's like -20 with like 15K winds. She's quite nipply out there. And yeah, I had to make a couple calls to get rescued. And then later that day, I had to pull it off the ice. So yeah, you really never know what can happen on your next trip out to Lake Winnipeg, or even just lakes in Manitoba. On the ice, really, you never know.
I thought you broke it in a field.
Oh yeah, and then I started to have some fun, and I sent it off like this 10-foot jump, and then I basically just blew it up after then. Fixed it, sold it. So
not gonna win.
Let's hope the guy who has the sled isn't watching this right now.
You didn't scam the guy, did you? You fixed it though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I
took it for like multiple rips down the back lane. She's fine. She's running fine.
Sorry, in Winnipeg. Oh, that's great. Cops called. Yeah, I have to say with Lake Winnipeg, I can only imagine going on Facebook and just seeing, yep, Pruden's access is done. The mouth access, huge ridge, and your guide, and what do you do now?
Well,
that just ruins everything. Sorry, I was going to say, Chris Gaughan hires a guy to plow out Pruden's.
Yeah.
That guy's a hero.
That access is one of the best accesses on the lake. I've been using it all year, but it is probably the worst access to be on when it's windy. Because like if you get a north wind, the creek comes out facing south. So if you get a north wind, you just get drifts like 10 feet high that block the entire thing. Yeah. And it's like, well, what do I do now?
And yeah, when you're driving along it, the snow walls are like super high.
It's like 12 feet high on each side. It is actually crazy. Yeah. But like, yeah, that's the stuff that you need to do, is hire people to plow your access off, really.
Yeah, super important. Well, that's the thing. Ridges just ruin everything. You on Facebook. Highly recommend, if you guys aren't in the Lake Winnipeg report, Rick Gatz is his name?
Gergatz.
Gergatz, yeah. He runs that. He does an amazing job. Always updating on where the dangerous spots are in the lake, what's been formed where. People contribute all the time. It's a great community. But it's heartbreaking seeing all these access points just completely destroyed, or big ridges across, or it's not accessible, and you have all these guides that are already having a bad day, or they're
you gotta drive halfway across the lake to get off.
Just I have to say, from what I've seen, I used to think that I could be a guide possibly in another life. That life does not exist. I could not do that. Highly respect to those who do that. Very important job.
Absolutely.
It drives the tourism. It drives up. Lake Winnipeg itself makes a lot of money.
The tourism
for the province of Manitoba, and guides help with that.
It's crazy.
Like, you have so many people coming up from the States, Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota. They hire or get an ice castle one day, or they get into a snow bear. And that's what Brady's doing too, eh? He's getting snow bears now?
About that, he's getting 2 snow bears up to Canada. That's cool. And he's going to be guiding out of them. And I think actually he wants me guiding out of a snow bear next winter, so that's gonna be pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, me guiding and behind the camera, so it should be fun. It should be really interesting.
That would be so cool.
Oh god, yeah.
So Brady Kingsland is expanding here.
For sure.
That's so cool. Absolutely. I have to say too, not to pat you on the back, I don't try to do that. You do a terrible job with that.
I know.
The videos from Brady because before, he's not a professional editor.
His videos were either 8 minutes long or 35 minutes long.
And you could see where Caden came in, the video quality got a lot better. The editing was really good.
Yeah.
And now you look at it now. The intro's super cool. The content's really good. The mic quality's good. The video quality's good. It's just good.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
good job, Caden.
Thank you.
But yeah, super important job that guides have. Brady Kingsland is an absolute champ. If you want to book a trip with Brady, we'll leave the website in the bio of this video. I highly recommend. But yeah, besides that, Brady seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah, very cool.
I've heard some funny stories. He seems like a super genuine guy. He loves what he does, and he's definitely good at what he does based on all the big fish he puts his clients on. So very important. But yeah, guiding is not for the faint of heart. Not for the faint of heart.
No, not for everyone. That's for sure. It is quite the experience.
And it's expensive if you're getting into it.
No kidding.
If you're going to be on a guide on Lake Winnipeg, you don't have an ice castle.
Yeah.
At least like $50,000 investment.
Yeah.
It's not probably going to work out. I mean, you do you, but yeah. The snow bears are what, like... Sorry about that, guys. The camera's cut. Where were we?
Snow bears.
Yes, so I don't know how much a snow bear costs.
I want to say like 60 grand.
I mean, there's a lot to it. That sounds about right.
There's a lot to
So
it.
it's like the same price of an ice castle.
It's basically an enclosed snowmobile, and you get to fish in it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
pretty much, I want to say 60 grand. I could be wrong. Could be more. Possibly 80. We'll see.
You're moving around a lot. You could tell where the snow bear's gone because there's a trail and there's just a hole in the middle of them where they drill down and just scan around forward. But
Quite the experience. I've filmed in one and fished in one. One thing I do have to say, they aren't very comfortable. I mean, they are in, like, the newer snow bears, obviously they are like, yeah, pretty top notch, but the older style snow bears have a lot more room than the newer ones. Because like the newer ones, you sit down, and then when you sit down, you only have like that much room for your holes, and then the next guy is there, like your knees are touching.
yeah,
sometimes.
you can't have a run and gun 50-inch frostbite rod.
No, you're running like 32-inch rods, 34-inch rods in there. So keeping a big 31-inch fish pinned kind of sucks, but at the same time,
a big bench seat. It's like a hockey dressing room.
Exactly, that's exactly what it is. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna hop out of the lodge in my jeans and my sweater, and I'm gonna go fishing, right? And you have no issues of that you gotta get outside. You gotta go outside for a piss every now and then. That's about it, right?
Yep.
So
Runs off propane. Same with the ice castles.
yeah, runs off propane. Some of them actually have like TVs in them, so they put a generator on the front to run the TVs. Usually they hook up the TVs with the electronics they run in there, Mega 360 or Live Scope, whatever it may be. But yeah.
Speaking of which, actually, I want to quickly talk about that. What are your thoughts on Mega Live 2 and the Explorer units?
Say again?
What are your thoughts on the Mega Live 2 and Explorer units?
Pretty sweet. I've never used one in person, so I really can't give a full rating on them. But I mean, from what I've seen, not bad. The Explorer units are kind of nuts. Like those are big units. That's crazy.
So what I will say, I've tried them at work and I played around with it. It is very user-friendly. I mean, people complain with the Helix that it wasn't. I thought it was. I mean, I guess it's not. But the new layout's very much so like a Lowrance and a Garmin now. So you have your main setup. You go to whatever you want to go to the Mega Live mode. Or if you want to go into down mode, side mode, you just click it.
Side mode.
It's very what?
Side mode.
Side imaging. Sorry, down imaging, side imaging, Mega Live. But yeah, it's very much like a Lowrance or a Garmin. But with the demo unit at work, it's super easy to use everything, and I really like it. I think it looks sharp. I really like how when you turn the transducer, I don't know how to explain this, but it keeps it so perfect. You don't lose the image as you're turning it. Because with Mega Live, for example, if you turn it, you could just, if you were marking a rock, it's just gone. But as you turn the transducer, even though it's in a strip, it still keeps it there. I don't know how to explain this, but it looks really good. Bait tracking supposedly better. It's got a better processor than an Apex.
Wow.
So I think it's a quad core and an Apex is a dual core. Don't quote me on that. Whether or not the amount of cores it has, an Apex might be faster. I think the Explorer is actually better for that, but don't quote me on that. I don't know that fully yet. I've never used an Apex myself, but compared to my transducer with my Mega Live 1, it looks a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, but it's competing with LiveScope now. I would say that for the past couple of years, Garmin definitely had the edge. I'm still super biased. I think Hummingbird's the best, but now with the Explorer units and the new head units, The problem before was that Hummingbird was a lot more expensive to get in the touchscreen, and the live imaging wasn't as good. Now it's got, and I'm going to argue this, it's got the best mapping, it's got arguably the best imaging, if not it's about the same, and it's touchscreen.
Oh, it's touchscreen now.
Yeah, the Explorers.
Nice.
So that's the big thing. They're touchscreen. I personally really do not care, honestly. I am fine with my Helix 9, but who knows? I'm assuming at the end of, or at the start of next season, they're going to have their bundle with an Explorer 9 and a Maglev 2. So I got the bundle with the Helix 9 and the Maglev 1, so maybe I'd jump ship and upgrade. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I'm glad Hummingbird did that. We'll see how...
The touchscreen is very nice, I'm going to say.
Not everyone has it, but we'll see how it turns out. I don't think it's a flop, so yeah, we'll have to see. Mega 362 coming out soon, maybe. Who knows? But,
technology.
Yeah. So,
crazy.
Before we finish this off, I want to ask, you ran a derby recently.
I did. Yeah.
And it turned out pretty well from what I've seen.
Honestly, like from the tournament was March 1st. It is March 7th, so 6 days ago. Wow, 6 days ago.
Wow,
that's crazy.
I thought it was longer than that.
No kidding. It felt like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, time flies. But yeah, March 1st was the tournament. My buddy Ronan and myself ran a ice fishing derby out at Big White Shell Lake, hosted at Big White Shell Lodge. It was a catch photo release tournament. The categories to win from were your 3 largest walleye, 3 largest crappie, and your 3 longest northern pike. And then we had a couple other like mystery prizes in there, like most species caught, smallest fish, and then largest fish. And yeah, it was fun. We had, I think, around 30 or 40 anglers. I can't remember the right number. But for even just putting this together for with 3 weeks in advance, not too bad. With the prizes that we got, we had Striker in there, we had Element Custom Baits, Catch and Cook, Lake of the Woods, Fishing Hole, Black Pine Creative, Doyle's Supply. We had like probably close to 10 sponsors for the tournament. Kidfish as well.
Huntfish Manitoba.
Huntfish Manitoba. Yeah, like probably close to 10.
For a first tournament, getting all that's pretty good. I've seen tournaments go a lot worse, and they didn't repeat after that because of that reason. So, do you think it's going to be an annual thing?
Yes. We have another tournament coming up in June with the boats, so that's going to be a lot more fun. So with this past tournament, it was kind of hard to figure out how many people were going to be there, because not everyone has snowmobiles. It's like, hey, come out for a fishing tournament, but you need snowmobiles, because like on Big White Shell, the travel isn't the easiest, because either some years there could be no snow, we both experienced that, and then some years there can be too much snow, and I've experienced that with slush and problems and stuff like that, right? So, but we had trucks out there go out this year, so that was pretty cool. They had no problems getting around. We had new people that never fished the lake before come and fish it, so that was also pretty cool, talking to them. We gave out prizes to everyone that attended that tournament.
Yeah, that's good.
So everyone that attended it got something, either whether it was $350 cash, a brand new striker suit, a Catch and Cook Coatings bundle, or even just an Element Custom Baits wingding or mugshot, whatever it was. So yeah, it was really exciting. We'll definitely do it again next year in the winter, hopefully bigger and better sponsors and volunteers and everything. We will also, where's my train of thought going here? Yeah, in a spring derby, like I said. And yeah, it was lots of fun. That's where I was going. YouTube. So we did this whole tournament, we filmed on YouTube. It's going to go on my YouTube channel. We'll probably make a YouTube channel for the derby if this keeps climbing. It'll be pretty cool. So we got to go out to everyone that was attending the tournament, interview them, and see how their day was going, see what they caught. We actually got people catching fish while we were interviewing them, so that was pretty cool as well.
Good, yeah.
Interacting with new people who were there, and just good friends that were of us that were on the ice at the same time. And yeah, it's going to be a really good turnout for years to come.
So first of all, what's the derby called? You got to mention that.
Well, we didn't really have a name set in stone. I think it's funny, at the tournament we were thinking we were going to call it like the March Madness Kickoff Tournament, kind of thing, or something like that, because it was like the first day in March, whatever. But it was just the Big White Shell Lake Ice Fishing Derby. So
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Yeah, we kind of wanted just to fly by this year, get it over with, and see what our flaws were, and see what we can fix, and see what we can, turn around to make this tournament even better. So
I will say, I mean, if you do this again, A, you're going to know what to expect. B, you're going to have more time.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, it's like we had 3 weeks notice. Like March 1st, 3 weeks before, the owner of the North Shore Lodge, Gary, he was like, yeah, I want to throw a tournament together. Can you throw something together? I'm like, all right, sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. So my buddy Ronan and I put together a tournament in 3 weeks' time, and it was a good turnout for only having 3 weeks notice.
So everyone was happy?
Everyone was happy. Everyone really had a good time.
It looked like from what everything.
Yeah, it was a good atmosphere. We had kind of like a shotgun takeoff, which was pretty cool, with all the sleds lined up and a couple of trucks lined up too. So,
gentlemen.
Yeah, start your engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Eric LeBolpa it.
Yeah, no, it was it was lots of fun. It was a really neat experience. Kind of just being in charge of everyone, and also public speaking on a microphone. I've never done that before. That was my first time, so it was kind of interesting.
Drop the mic, drop the beat.
Yeah, drop the mic kind of thing. Except this, but I mean, I'm talking to a camera. I'm not talking to you guys watching the podcast or listening to the podcast wherever you are.
Hey guys.
Hello, I'm yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing with tournaments on the Red, for example. I mean, not to diss on kickerfish, but I mean, some tournaments, there's a lot less fish caught, but the atmosphere makes up for it to the point where it becomes a bonus to catching fish, in my opinion. But
the grand prizes on the tournament that kickerfish host are quite impressive, 10 grand. They give out $1,200 in 2 days. Yeah, which is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, Eric LeBolpa and all of them do a great job. Everyone who runs that. So
yeah, hands down to them for sure.
But yeah, I think that it turned out very well from what I saw. Yeah, and a lot of happy people. If everyone's winning, and
everyone got.
Did Gary make a lot of money from this? I
probably should mention that too. So all the proceeds after the cash prizes. We had cash prizes for the three longest walleye, crappie, and pike. Each first place prize got $350 in cash, so that was pretty good. And then the leftover money went to the Kidfish organization, who is also associated with the Children's Hospital. I think we gave $300 or $400 to them as well after the tournament. That's great. So at least it wasn't going back into our pockets we got money, right? It was just let's do this so everyone can be happy and raise money for
absolutely
for the Children's Hospital there. So
it's a complete win-win when you have people who had fun at the Derby,
for sure,
people who had fun running it, and then the proceeds go to a good cause. So
absolutely,
there's literally no flaw in the whole tournament, if you ask me. So
there was not a regret that we made during that tournament. Everything was awesome. So
so good job to everyone who volunteered in that as well. And hopefully in the future it'll happen again.
Absolutely. But I think we want to run 2 tournaments a year. I think that's what Gary wants, but
we're gonna take Eric LeBolpa's job someday.
We'll see.
Well, other than that, that's all it for me.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure you guys check out the links that we have down in the description. Check out Brady's guiding service. Check out the links to our channels individually. And I'm Nathan Blank.
I'm Caden Parisian.
See you in the next one.
We will see you then.